data, and we'll make sure that we understand the situation. But during...
Good afternoon. I'm Rick Sanchez in the world headquarters of MSNBC. We are going to take you back to Washington in just a little bit, but we want to cover some breaking news that we've just learned. It's coming out of Nacogdoches, Texas. Interestingly enough, that's the area most concentrated in this debris field that we've been following for you. Ashley Banfield is standing by now with this update. Ashley, what are we learning?
A very significant piece of debris may actually have been found, Rick, and this coming from the Sheriff's Department here in Nacogdoches County. 3 electronic components that are thought to be part of the flight data recording system of the shuttle have now been turned over to NASA. Let me just repeat that, because this is very significant in terms of the caliber of debris that's been found. 3 electronic components discovered on Saturday are thought to be part of the flight data recording system of the Space Shuttle Columbia. They have been now turned over, these 3 components, to NASA for analysis, and the words that were used to me were these are along the lines of a black box, Rick. Let me just add to you a few more pieces of information with regard to finds. 6 more sites of human remains have apparently been pinpointed here in Nacogdoches, although that is unconfirmed as to just exactly whether those are Space Shuttle crew members' remains yet, but this is something coming from the sheriff. We also can tell you that a piece of human tissue with long hair was also discovered. Just wanted to let you know one more piece of debris that they think is significant. A 6 to 7 foot long piece of the shuttle cabin has been discovered here in Nacogdoches County. But I think the headline here, which is of key significance to officials who are investigating the hows and whys of this, is the 3 components discovered on Saturday. 3 components of what is thought to be, according to the sheriffs here, along the lines of the black box, part of the flight data recording system of the shuttle. Rick, it's very important to note that black boxes on board shuttles are not armored as they are on aircraft. So many of the experts involved in this investigation had suggested from the beginning they didn't feel as though any black box would actually be found. But this is extremely significant if NASA does determine whether these are going to hold any information or whether there's anything that can be retrieved from this. That 3 components, electronic components, thought to be part of the flight data recording system, confirmed by County Judge Sue Kennedy earlier, turned over to NASA.
Yeah, Ashley, you're mentioning that they were found on Saturday. I imagine they've been moved since then, or have they? Where are they right now?
That's a great question. At this time, all of the debris that's been found is being sent to the Air Force Base, Barksdale in Louisiana. My thought is that it's possible that these would have been sent fairly quickly. The words that the county judge confirmed to me was that we have turned everything over to NASA, and of course the command center for NASA is at Barksdale Air Force Base as well. So it is assumed from her words that we have turned all of this over to NASA, that those components would be at the Air Force Base currently.
Ashley Banfield following the story for us there in Nacogdoches, Texas. We certainly thank you, Ashley, for bringing us this brand new information. What we want to do now is dip back into that news conference taking place in Washington as some of the NASA officials talk to representatives of the media. Let's do that right now.
With the decay rate, we should not require a reboost during this calendar year. So actually, the station is in good shape. We have a Soyuz vehicle on board. There is already a planned Soyuz launch from Baikonur in April. Will be the normal exchange, so we will have a good crew return vehicle on orbit. So should we have to take people off the station for some reason, that crew, we do have that opportunity. So for the next month, until at least the late May, early June time frame, there really aren't issues on sustainability or supportability at the International Space Station. The real issues around the station are when will we find the problem, when will we get it fixed, when will we return to flight, what will be the manifest capability with the vehicles that we have, what would be the prudent assembly to first U.S. core complete and then to accommodate the other international modules. I think you all know that on the original manifest plan, we had envisioned 7 launches of the space station fleet between now and 19th of February, when we had hoped to complete the U.S. core configuration. That flight manifest required 3 flights of the 105 vehicle, 3 flights of the 104 vehicle, and 1 flight of the Columbia, which was taking some resupply and a small part, I believe the S5 part, on orbit in January of next year. So clearly, without Columbia, that is a loss in terms of the manifest capability that will need to be dealt with. And of course, I think you know we typically have 1 vehicle down in the OMM being refurbished and repaired. And it's a very, I think, an important point to make on this subject because I know there's a lot of issues now about aging and what these kind of things mean in service life. And it's an important part, but it's not always intuitive to real-life examples the ordinary citizen might think about. You know, an orbiter that's 20 years old that has just been through this 18-month program to refurbish, repair, refix, upgrade, and modernize is not the same vehicle that went in, and it's clearly not something that's 20 years old. And I think I know it's been previously reported. 102 just recently came out of this processing and was, in that sense, a very new vehicle. In fact, this was only the second flight since it had completed that refurbishment. So in this regard, there is a lot of capability in these vehicles, irrespective of their age, and that is precisely why the new proposed Integration Space Transportation Plan proposes, you know, capitalizing on the capabilities of this fleet. So there will be many issues to be concerned with, and although our primary focus is just what I said, we're taking care of the people responsibilities associated with this incident. We're trying to understand and be prudent and be good community leaders and neighbors with environmental considerations impacting central and eastern Louisiana. We're trying to understand what this problem is, but at the same time, there are different parts of my program and different parts of NASA that are already looking at the long term for the International Space Station, how we will cope with this tragedy, and what will be our plan ahead, and also looking very aggressively at the remaining shuttle fleet, what we will need to do in light of this recent event.
Let me just piggyback on what General Kostelnik said in terms of focusing back on the crew. Immediately after we found out about Columbia, we did send word up to the crew, communicated with them, let them know what the situation was, and of course they were obviously concerned for the families and sent their condolences. And obviously they also mourn the loss of the crew, friends and colleagues. Yesterday afternoon, the administrator and I talked to the Expedition 6 crew, Captain Bowersox and Dr. Don Pettit and Nikolai Bedarin, and their emphasis was on finding what the cause was, fixing it, and getting back to flying. They committed themselves to stay up there for however long we needed in order to get the job done. We assured them that that was job one, is to get back to flying safely and to support them. And as General Kostelnik said, we have sufficient logistics to go through the early summer at this point.
Okay, we're going to go to Johnson Space Center for 2 questions, and then from there we'll move to Kennedy Center. And like I said, folks, we'll end up back here in the headquarters, and we'll make sure that any questions you have will get answered. Johnson Space Center, are you out there today? Johnson. Okay, while we're working on technical glitch, let me take a question here from the headquarters. This gentleman down here. First row. There we go.
Charles Seif, Science Magazine. I understand that Columbia was uniquely configured in certain ways, including the ability to support the Hubble Space Telescope servicing mission. What modifications would be necessary to other orbiters so that it could perform that mission?
We on? Yeah, Columbia, in fact, did the most recent servicing mission, but the Hubble Space Telescope was actually launched by the Discovery and has been serviced by other orbiters. So we have the capability to do servicing of the Hubble Space Telescope with the rest of the fleet. That's not an issue. Of course, we just recently got back from servicing the telescope, and we don't think that the future servicing mission is really time sensitive.
Okay, let me take one more question on this side of the room, and then I'll try Johnson again on the end here.
Stephanie Woods with Nightly Business Report.
Could you say your name again, please?
Stephanie Woods, I'm with the Nightly Business Report. When the Challenger accident happened, it was 3 years of delays for the shuttle launch. Do you anticipate this investigation will go on that long?
Well, let me assure you, we're going to take however long it takes to get to the bottom of it, identify the root cause and fix it, and then get back to flying. So whether it takes 3 months or 3 years, so be it. Our primary objective is to get back to flying safely.
Okay, thank you. Let me try the Johnson Space Center again. Johnson, can you hear me out there today? Yes, please identify yourself and your organization and go ahead and ask your question, please.
On the day 12, I believe, and then also the FRR material from the previous, or after the previous incident of the foam insulation, which I believe was back in autumn or winter of last year. That would help us immensely.